Democracy doesn't work if nobody is watching. Quick show of hands, how many people here know what the San Diego City Council voted on this week? Okay, that's good. Most San Diegans don't either, so it's okay. National headlines grab our attention, but it's local politics that decide what our streets look like, how our schools are funded, and whether rent in our cities skyrockets. Yet it's the level of government that people are paying the least attention to. That disconnect is exactly what the San Diego documenters are working to fix. Because if we're not paying attention, who's holding power accountable? The San Diego documenters are part of a growing national network that trains and pays residents to attend and take notes at public meetings, like city council sessions, planning boards, and school board meetings. These notes are then provided to journalists in an effort to make government more transparent and accessible to everyone. Over the course of this campaign, our team learned about the importance of empowering people to show up, get involved, take notes, and take back their power. My name is Jackie Hush, and I had the privilege of serving as the team lead for our PR campaign this semester. Throughout the course of the semester, my teammates and I worked every single day to make sure the goals of our client were met. Not only were we successful in this, but we were also able to get a firsthand view into the inner workings of the PR industry, and this campaign prepared us for life in the PR world post-grad. Our client, as previously stated, are the San Diego documenters.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Regalia, and I had the honor of being selected as the HR manager for this campaign. When beginning our campaign, we recognized issues like low citizen engagement in local politics, the community's lack of trust in news outlets, and a lack of visibility for local news sources. In response to our initial meeting with the client, we immediately began to craft plans for research to find the best way we could address these problems and support the documenters.
When we first started this campaign, we conducted secondary research to gain a better understanding of the U.S. population's viewpoints towards local government and politics. Hello, my name is Jane Bungason. For this campaign, we took a look at Pew Research Center's data on Americans' viewpoints towards local government and politics. What we found is that there is a 15% decrease among people of color and a 22% decrease among all ages in their interest towards local government and politics. Now, looking at education, we saw that there was a 7% decrease among those with higher education and actually an 11% increase among those with only a high school diploma. With this knowledge, we were able to formulate questions to be used in our pre-campaign survey.
Data is one of the most important parts of a PR campaign. Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Kyle, and I had the pleasure of serving as the research captain for this semester's campaign. From our pre-campaign survey, which was issued to politically oriented Facebook groups, we were able to measure respondents' knowledge of the San Diego documenters and their feelings about them. Using a 3-item, 3-point semantic differential scale, we asked respondents to rate their knowledge of the documenters. Those in South San Diego were slightly more informed and aware than those in San Diego, while both areas were almost equal in not knowing at all about the documenters. This data signaled to us a need to further promote the documenters later in our campaign. Next, we asked San Diegan and South San Diegan respondents to rate their feelings of the documentaries using a 5-item, 5-point semantic differential scale ranging from 1, strongly disagree, to 5, strongly agree. On a scale out of 5, respondents fell in the middle, expressing uncertainty about their feelings toward the documenters. At the time of the survey, many were unaware of the program and as a result were unable to accurately provide strong positive or negative feelings. Again, this data signaled to us a need to promote the documenters later in our campaign.
Through 14 interviews with local residents and university students, our team found several consistent patterns. Hi, my name is Emily Parr, and I was in charge of the interview analysis we would use to build our campaign on. First, a majority of interviewees are not politically informed, often expressing frustration with how hard it is to receive updates on local government decisions. Instead, social media is the primary channel they use to receive news, with platforms like Instagram and Nextdoor serving as their go-to sources for quick and accessible information. Across almost every conversation, interviewees emphasize a strong need for clear and direct information. They want updates that are centralized, feel personalized to their communities, and are overall easy to understand, without having to dig through complicated websites or disconnected news sources. Our findings suggest that if we want to engage these communities, especially younger residents, the Documenters program needs to prioritize transparency, storytelling, and delivering information where people are already looking for it.
Let's talk about a few highlights we found in our research. Hello, everyone. My name is Bryn Webb, and I served as the creative captain for this campaign. The first highlight I want to discuss is the language access. Interviewees um, appreciated that the documenters are bilingual, and that made that work, which makes their work more inclusive. The next is that the organization's credibility was the fact that they are affiliated with iNewsSource, and that made interviewees believe that they are more trustworthy and reliable. That trust is a really important connection. And lastly, values matter. Respondents appreciated and felt aligned with the documenter's mission statement and their values, which is something that was extremely important to us. Identifying these highlights is crucial to building the structure for the rest of this campaign.
The San Diego documenters stand out for their community focus, but compete with national, local, and online news outlets that are widely trusted and have strong reach. Hi, I'm Tanya Magallon, and this is our competitor analysis. To grow, we must boost our online presence and highlight our unique civic mission.
The SWOT analysis is an essential part of understanding the internal and external factors that were affecting our client's organization prior to our campaign. Hi, I'm Olivia Rodriguez, and I was responsible for analyzing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of our client, the San Diego documenters. When we look at the client's strengths, we want to understand what was already succeeding before our campaign. We identified 3 major strengths of the documenters. The documenters are in collaboration with iNewsSource, which is a well-trusted news outlet within San Diego County. The documenters are also prioritizing bilingual writing, which is something that is not being as prioritized by other news outlets. And finally, the documenters' values are built on the ideas of civic engagement and participation within local government. Moving on to weaknesses, these are things that can be improved upon within the organization. We also identified 3 core weaknesses. Our interviewees found that word of mouth was the best way to ensure that a news organization was trustworthy. Prior to our campaign, our client expressed to us that they were unsure whether or not anyone was actually talking verbally about the campaign or about the client. The client also expressed that there was a future desire to expand out of South San Diego into all of San Diego County, but there were no efforts actually made prior to our campaign. We considered the long-term sustainability without expanding out of South San Diego a weakness. And finally, the client expressed to us that they had a desire to expand and diversify their target audience, which prior to our campaign was people of older age and higher socioeconomic status. Moving on to opportunities, these are things that we found could be expanded upon and improved on in our organization. We turned to our research to understand what our opportunities were. To start, our interviewees found that social media was their favorite way of receiving their news. We considered social media to be something that could be better developed. We also considered the interviewees' connection to community, which is something that we also found that interviewees liked that the documenters were connected to their local communities. Prior to our campaign, the documenters had already made efforts to reach out with local community organizations such as high schools to recruit potential documenters. And finally, from our survey, we found that civic engagement was already prevalent within San Diego County. The majority of survey participants expressed that they vote or have a general knowledge of what is going on in local government. And finally, our threats are things that are both out of our control and the client's control. We identified 2 major threats. To start, we found that the documenter's reliance on volunteer journalists could lead to inconsistencies or inaccuracies when it comes to reporting. And finally, larger news outlets or for-profit news outlets are reaching a larger amount of people and therefore have a larger audience.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gina Javier. Before our campaign, a majority of the San Diego community was unaware of the documenters. As a result, many important local policies were being made without public knowledge. Without greater visibility and engagement, residents are left disconnected from decisions that affect their daily lives.
I'll be talking about our research-informed analysis of the public, who they are, and how they relate to the documenters. My name is Drake Budnick, and I worked as a specialist over the course of the semester. Our research was based on both primary and secondary research. We conducted interviews, reviewed community engagement data, and monitored social media platforms in order to understand our audience's attitudes and awareness towards the documenters. For our stakeholder analysis, our goal was to understand our stakeholders' interests and influence. We identified 4 key groups: high influence, low interest, high influence, high interest, low influence, low interest, and low influence, high interest. We applied Grunick's situational theory of the publics to analyze and categorize our audiences. Our research identified a key latent public, being San Diego residents who are interested in local government but are unfamiliar with the documenters. This theory led our planning phase to help us better understand how to move these individuals from latent to aware.
Our next step was to pinpoint exactly what we wanted to achieve by the end of this campaign. Hi, everyone. My name is Maura Marshall, and our overarching goal was to position the San Diego documenters as a trusted local government news source in all San Diego communities. We then need to develop a series of SMART objectives, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. From our formative research, we knew that these objectives need to be focused on public awareness and online engagement. Our first objective was to increase awareness of the documenters as a trusted local government news source in South San Diego communities by 15%. For this first one, we wanted to focus on South San Diego communities because much of the documenter's previous promotional efforts had already been concentrated in South San Diego. So we were building on the foundation that they already had. Our second objective focused on social media. We set out to increase online engagement by 20%. Our third and final objective was very similar to the first, but a bit more broad. We wanted to take the foundation that we had in South San Diego and apply it to all San Diego communities. Our third and final objective was to increase awareness of the documenters as a trusted local government news source in all of San Diego by 15%.
Hello, my name is Reina Escalante, and I was the messaging captain of the team. And the purpose of messaging is to highlight the talking points and aspects of the documenters, and both in earned and in known media. And our three themes that we came up with were what we do, community, and watchdog.
Our first messaging theme based on our research is what we do. Hello, my name is Dominique Matalon, and this represents how the documenters go to public meetings and take notes to inform the public. Our second messaging theme is community, because the documenters build a more aware society. And our third messaging theme is watchdog, because the documenters hold local government accountable and they monitor community progress.
Once we solidified our overarching goal, main objectives, and messaging, we created a series of strategies which would help us achieve that end goal. For our strategies, we focused on engaging directly with San Diego communities, educating San Diego residents on the documenter's mission, and using social media as a resource to engage with the documenter's audience and spread awareness. We then executed a series of tactics curated specifically to each of our strategies.
After setting our goals and defining our strategies, it was then time to move on to the next phase of the RPI process, implementation. Hi, my name is Jessica Stoll. I served as a strategist on this campaign as well as the co-lead for the Taste of Third event. If you haven't heard or don't know much about it, Taste of Third is an event that happens annually in Chula Vista that brings together the community over local food and supporting one another. The perfect place to pitch the documenters, a program run by locals for locals. Now, our decision to table at Taste of Third wasn't based on a whim. We considered our primary goals, which were to increase awareness of the Documenters program, as well as foster a positive public impression, and thought to ourselves, what's the best way to achieve this? By going down to South San Diego and telling them ourselves. We handed out QR-coded flyers and branded merchandise, sharing with them the client's mission. Jane and I also took to the streets, expanding our range of outreach and talking to event attendees that didn't quite get the chance to stop by our booth. We also had the chance to obtain social media coverage that we would then pitch to the client via content calendar for them to post at their discretion.
Our second tactic, from notes to news, was the most impactful event from our entire campaign. I had the privilege of moderating a panel discussion at the Coronado Public Library amongst 4 panelists, those including the San Diego Documenters Program Director, a documenter, the Assistant Editor for iNewsSource, and the Coronado Public Library Program Director. This discussion between the audience and panelists raised awareness about the San Diego Documenters program and what they do within a San Diego community. The success of this event was overwhelmingly successful. We ended up needing more seats in the venue once we reached full capacity, and the success of this event also just fueled the momentum for the rest of this campaign for the team.
Based on our research, we knew that Coronado residents tend to be more engaged in local politics, making it an ideal place to build momentum. The event drew 61 attendees, and we successfully added new subscribers to the Documenters newsletter. According to our post-event survey, there was a 72% increase in knowledge of the Documenters program, showing that the event had a meaningful impact in connecting the community to local civic reporting.
Our last tactic is to create social media content for our client. One of this included a reel that we made at the Taste of Third events. This was a street-style interview where we interviewed random people, asking them 3 simple questions about their local government. We wanted to keep it short, fun, and informative to make sure it was engaging for our audience. This style of video aligns with our client's brand and as well as our previously mentioned messaging themes. It was also posted on our client's social media page, where it was the most liked post on their Instagram. Can I hear for the documenters? Now, looking at the beginning of our campaign, we saw that our client had a lack of engagement on their Instagram page, with an average of 908 views on their reels and 16 likes on their posts. By the end of our campaign, we were able to increase this by 1,946 views and 25 likes on their Instagram page. Overall, we saw an increase of 56% in likes on their posts and 114% on viewership for their reels.
Now it's time to evaluate how we did on those initial objectives. Our first objective, if you recall, was to increase awareness of the documenters in South San Diego by 15%. We exceeded this expectation we set for ourselves and increased knowledge of the documenters in South San Diego by 105%. Woo!
Yeah.
Our second objective was to increase online engagement by 20%. And believe it or not, our team's content saw a 240% increase in engagement on the documentary's Instagram page.
Yeah.
Our third and final objective was to increase awareness of the documenters in all of San Diego by 15%. By the end of our campaign, we saw a 72% increase in awareness of the documenters in all of San Diego. Let's hear it for the documenters.
In order for us to execute a successful campaign, there were certain expenses that needed to be covered. Hi, everyone. My name is McLean Watson, and I was honored to have served as a social media lead for this semester's campaign. Our clients were unable to present us with initial budget, so our materials were purchased at an ad hoc basis upon client approval. We spent a total of $224.66 on primarily print materials, branded notebooks, and snacks for our event attendees. In addition to our strategic spending, we are fortunate enough to receive generous in-kind donations from local Coronado businesses, as well as branded table runners and stickers provided by the Broom Center to help us execute successful and engaging events for our attendees.
The San Diego documenters are more than just note takers. They're community builders, watchdogs, and advocates for accessible and transparent local government. By training everyday residents to document public meetings and share that information openly, the program empowers communities, especially those often left out of the conversation. Our campaign was rooted in that mission to raise awareness, increase participation, and show that civic engagement doesn't have to be out of reach. Together, we can help San Diegans not just witness democracy in action, but actually be a part of it. Now more than ever, it's important to be aware of what's happening in our government, especially at the local level. Staying informed is the only way to know what's happening in our city, and that's what makes a documentary such a useful tool. Not only did our campaign achieve the goals of our client, but it taught all of us the importance of staying involved in local government happenings. The skills and insights that we've gained throughout this campaign will without a doubt be of help to us in the future. We couldn't have done it without the wonderful Dr. Sweetser, who was there for us and supported us every step of the way. This campaign taught each of us our individual role as PR professionals, and for that we are grateful. Thank you all so much.